a frustrated John, I'm fawning upon a skeletal blonde.
Hey, this is Minnie Merce and Trish here from Audio Sensory Resuscitation, and we have Shane Nelken from the Awkward Stage. Hello, how are you today?
I'm great, how are you guys?
We are wonderful, thank you.
So I guess the first thing we wanted to ask you is, I know you guys all come from different bands, different musical backgrounds, but how you guys got started and came together as the band you are now.
In Vancouver for many years, I've had a bunch of bands, and these guys have had a bunch of bands, and I was getting hired a lot to play in other people's bands as their guitar player, their bass player, their piano player. But all the while, I was writing a bunch of songs, and finally it was like, getting older and having this huge stockpile of songs started to seem like I have to do something with this, or it's a colossal waste of energy. I have to and really that was the goal, was just to have something tangible to show for all my effort. All the Vancouver musicians would come and see me play, and they knew, that I was a songwriter and stuff, but like outside of Vancouver, no one really did. And so it was really just, I was on the urging of my friends and just my own kind of being fed up with having all these songs and getting up at 4 a.m. frantic with ideas to write them down. Without recording, it's kind of pointless. So I recorded with Kurt Dahl from the New Pornographers, and then once it was out, it became like I better get a band. It was primarily just he and I. Sean played on it too, Sean Brody. But that record was mostly Kurt and I playing all the instruments, and then the band came afterwards, and then the label, and then this record's a little different, where it's been more of a band, more of a collaborative thing.
So did it help having Kurt Dahl from the New Pornographers to kind of jumpstart the Awkward Stage?
He and I are really good, and in fact, everyone in that band, we've been friends a lot longer than our groups have been together. We've worked, factory jobs together, and we've known each other a long time. We were always playing on each other's songs and projects and things, like long before either of our bands even formed. So with him, it was kind of funny. It'd be like, he'd call me and go, "Hey, I need you to help me go to the dump. We got to bring a bunch of stuff to the dump." And then I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of busy." And he's like, "Oh, I'll give you some recording time." So I'd help him clean out his yard, and I'd get a few hours, or like I'd walk his dogs and get a couple hours. It was like that. We were just friends. So we usually end up doing stuff. We play a lot of country music together when we're alone. That's basically what we love to do. Or we'll sing Everly Brothers songs and stuff. So yeah, we're always playing together anyway. And he's got such a great ear. He's amazing musician. So, and we're really good friends. So yeah, he definitely helped me a lot.
And you acted in their video for Use It, right?
I did. Blaine Thurier, who is their keyboard player, has also made a couple of films, and he made a lot of their early videos. And I'm in one of his films as well. And so yeah, they like to use friends for stuff like that. So they asked me if I'd be a puppeteer.
So you guys did your second album recently. When was that released?
It just came out in June. Oh, thank you very much. For those of you listening, I'm having the grilled panini with the soup.
What was the difference in recording your second album from the first album? I know you said it was different because you had more collaboration, but what else was different about the actual recording process?
This time we were on a label. We had a record label, so there were deadlines and things like that, and a strict budget and strict timeline, and a lot more sort of pressure to make this record. But we also, got to spend a little more money. Not a lot, but we could do like bed tracks in a proper studio, and so it immediately sounds a lot bigger and brighter and better. And yeah, we had been a band for about a year, this lineup, more or less, give or take a couple people. Been playing solidly together, so that influenced my songwriting a little bit. Having people in the room and you're playing things, and having such great musicians with me sort of breathe this life into your song ideas. It got really exciting to hear what they would bring to the... I'd have the initial skeleton of the song, gave them all CDRs, and they kind of brought in their own parts, and I think it's much better for it. Yeah, it's really... I think all art is better for... You have to remain kind of elastic with your ideas and leave room for that. Even if at first you're like, you've totally misinterpreted my precious idea. In the end, usually, often even their first impressions of it are really good ones.
How's the soup?
It's fantastic. It's really good. Trying the panini now.
Okay, we'll get the play-by-play. He's chewing it, and it's
good.
And it's good. There's some meat on that, actually.
It looks like there is some Gruyere, apple and chutney, and some sort of Cajun pork.
So there's a song on Slimming Mirror's Flattering Lights, your brand new album, and it's called Anime Eyes.
Oh yeah.
And I tried to translate this the Japanese part, and what I got was to live together in Nakashita. I don't know if that's right at all.
No, it's the Japanese loosely translated, or as close as I could get it. I lost my love in a room. Is the translation?
I was way off.
That's lovely. I like that line. It's very nice.
I sort of was thinking about. There's the Japanese word for this subculture is otaku. It refers to the subculture of people who we have them out west too, and in fact, otaku is has more of a derogatory meaning in Japan, but here it's sort of embraced as a kind of term of endearment. It's like nerd or geek. And it refers to the subculture of kids who just become utterly immersed in all things anime and manga and virtual and kind of get divorced from reality and shut themselves off completely in favor of virtual stuff. And they're referred to as otaku. And I was thinking about this kind of a modern loneliness and then I was also on a plane. And I was reading an article called Anime Eyes, and it referred to these contacts that these Japanese girls are getting to make their eyes look like Disney characters, like make them look even like cuter.
I've heard about that.
And I thought Anime Eyes, that's a good title. And then thinking about these otaku kids, and so that's kind of where that came from.
And it kind of goes along with your themes. I've read you said it's like an illusion theme. This album, Slimming Mirrors and Flattering Lights. Where did that come from?
I think like another theme that's prevalent just seems to be like getting older and realizing that like a lot of things you took for granted, it's just not the case. There's a lot of sort of harsh slaps in the face as you start to get older, and which also plays into that illusory theme too, and so I guess I was thinking a lot about that. Just kind of a record. A lot of the songs about coming to grips with getting older, for better or worse. And yeah, Anime Eyes fits in there theme-wise a little bit too.
It's better to rule Hollywood than to serve in heaven, waiting around for your bread to leaven. We left a trail of headless Barbie dolls and leg hole traps in all the malls. We decked the halls,
Are you guys doing anything for Halloween?
Last year I dressed up as that ghetto costume of just like a sheet ghost?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was that, but I had a big pee stain on the sheet, like right here. Huge. The sad face. I was Piss Ghost.
Costume.
Way scarier than a real
Any
ghost.
ideas for this Halloween costume yet?
I thought about maybe, there's a few. There's an area in Vancouver called Kitsilano where a lot of sort of rich yuppies live. And so my girlfriend and I were thinking of going as a Kits couple. I was going to get frosted tips and a full tracksuit, like a Coke nose and a little baby in a fancy like RV style carriage covered in cocaine, maybe some matching designer dogs. But I don't know yet what I'll be. Haven't decided.
So on the line of kind of, I guess, Halloween and kind of creepy things, you were a cremationist for a few years.
Yeah. I just recently left that job in November after suffering a massive anxiety attack at work. It was crazy. I've never had a history of them. I haven't had one since or before.
What happened?
I was sitting at work. It was a slow day. And I thought I had a heart attack, and they had to take me to the emergency room.
Really?
Yeah, all the symptoms, like both arms, like pain, shock. The room was spinning. I was like, went into shock, like turned green. It was really, really frightening.
That's scary.
I've had friends talk about panic attacks and stuff, and I just kind of dismissed it, like, oh, you get freaked out in social situations or whatever. I had no idea it was so terrifying. But I think it was work-related. I was just bottling things up for way too long, and all of a sudden, just totally.
How did a job like that affect your life and your band?
While I was doing it, I didn't really think it did. You normalize everything in order to do it, right? You kind of just becomes a job, like any other job. And you fall into your routine, and you just sort of do it, and it does become a job. And but I think about it a lot more now that I've left. While I was doing it, it didn't bother me. It didn't really seep in too much to my work. And since I've left, I think a lot about my own mortality, where I didn't while I was there, but now I always do. I haven't written too much about it. The opposite kind of happens. Like, it's not that inspiring a place as far as like getting ideas. It was kind of a vibeless place, You get that from being around live people. Oh, and you're not allowed to make out with them either. I found that out the hard way.
You got in trouble, eh?
Frowned upon.
Can you tell us a little bit about your songwriting process?
Sure. It's, I think, sort of a mechanism in the brain that's always on to a certain degree. I'm always like just walking around, trying to, if I'm doing a menial task like some sort of labor or something, I'll just naturally start trying to maybe come up with a melody or try and come up with a line of poetry, or sometimes it's just practicing the guitar, piano. It can happen so many different ways. But generally I'm always kind of thinking about songs all the time. I've got a new song called Soup and Panini that I just wrote about 10 minutes ago.
How does that one go?
Well, it's still in the gestation period. But by the end of this interview, we're going to have a gem on our hands. It's going to be gold.
I love you, my hipster darling. I love you, my hipster darling. I love you, my hipster darling. I love you, my hipster
show on CBC Radio 3, and how did you get into that?
Well, that was their idea. I have some great friends there, and it was Lisa Christensen had this idea. She pitched the show. We did a lot of interviews together, and we'd always have a lot of laughs, and so she had this idea for a musicians call-in advice show, and so she asked if I would do it. So whenever they'd have a musician in the CBC office, they'd ask them to leave me a message, and so we just started doing it that way. It's been a lot of fun. They've had me come in and guest host a little bit too. I always love doing stuff for them, and for R3 TV, we've done a few things on their TV channel.
So what's coming up next for you guys? You're still on tour.
Mm-hmm. We're nearing the end of this Canadian tour. We have tonight here in Ottawa. Sunday in Montreal at Zoo Bazaar, and then a show in New York for the CMJ Festival at a bar called Fat Baby, and then back home. I want to try and get over to the UK in the spring. I'd really like to do that, leave the continent. For this record, we never got a chance to on the last one.
Do you have any people you can crash there with as a home base?
Yeah, hopefully we can hook up with a good band over there. A couple of our members have family there as well, so yeah, it would be nice.
Cats in their laps as they drown in the real world with their poetry and their paintings and their radio.
Shoot any music videos to any of the songs?
I sure hope to. We tried. We made one for free off the last record with friends and submitted for some funding to make all sorts of videos, but we just never got accepted. I have some ambitious ideas for this one too. So yeah, well, I hope to. And I have a friend who made some visuals for every song on our record. It was for our CD release party, and they just played them behind us while we played. And he had very little time to do it, but he did a great job. So they kind of serve as some sort of visual, but I'd love to make a proper video. It'd be great.
Yeah, you have a video to Sad Girl Radio. Mm-hmm. Was that the one you were talking about with the friend?
Yeah, that was one that a friend was gracious, and friends all donated their time to do that. It was like no money. I just buy pizza. We borrowed gear. It was all in our part of it's filmed in the crematorium where I worked.
Oh, really?
Part of it's in my girlfriend's apartment with her cat.
That's what I was wondering, is whose cat was it?
That's a lovely... That's actually two cats. There's a stunt cat as well. And this cat, Monster, loves to shower. Loves it. It will cry until you turn the shower on so that it can go in there. It's ridiculous. So I wanted to capture that somehow. And then, of course, when it comes time to do it, she won't. Finally, she did, but...
That's remarkable, because most cats are quite the opposite.
They hate it, but she loves it. If you go in for your morning shower, she will cry until you let her in. She looks miserable. She's like... But she'll wait, and then you just blow dry her, and she's happy as a clam.
If you want to check it out, it's available on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Sad Girl Radio.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for talking with us today.
Oh, yeah, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You're prettier than them dandelion. You're prettier than them dandelion. Dandelion, dandelion, dandelion. You're prettier than them dandelion. Lift up your head. It's your sun too. Lift up your head. It's your blue sky too. Feet that have trampled you, and the bees that have sampled you. You're stronger than they ever knew. Prettier than them dandelion. You're prettier than them dandelion. Dandelion, dandelion, dandelion. Prettier than them